Hello, today we're talking about adjectives from Swan, right? We're looking at entries 12 to 18. And the idea is for you to pay attention to the examples from Swan. I won't be covering absolutely everything, but I will be drawing your attention to the points I think are more relevant, right? Because there may be some that are less interesting, right? Okay, so the idea is that we have in English attributive adjectives, that is to say they come before the noun, and we also have predicative adjectives, right? And they come after the verb to be. It says here after link verbs, right? We also call them copulative verbs like be, become, get, seem, look, right? And of course it says here that many adjectives like old, they can be predicative as in the man is very old, or attributive as in an old man, right? Now this is just a mere reference as to what to call an adjective, right? This is not that important. We'll see now a couple of fixed phrases with predicative adjectives that may be of use, right? Point number 2 here on page 8 talks about some adjectives that I would like to consider, like elder and eldest, right? You may have forgotten that in British English for brothers and sisters who are older, we use elder and eldest, not older and oldest, right? Though, of course, the use of older and oldest is also frequent, right? Then, of course, there's a difference between little and small, right? So, well, there's no need for me to look it up, but to show it to you. But actually, little, you speak of your little sister, right? Or your little brother, but not your small brother, don't you? Because small is just size, and little has got to do with a more associated with feelings, right? It is a nicer way to refer to a younger person. Now, I would like to draw your attention to intensifying adjectives, right? So we are on page 9. Yes, we're still part of entry number 12, point number 2, right? So these words like mere, which you may be familiar with, right? A mere child means it's just a child, right? And there's also sheer, meaning complete, right? Sheer madness, as it says here, right? But there are others that are not mentioned here, and I would like to focus on. So you see sheer delight, sheer luck, sheer chance, coincidence. All these collocations are really, really good. And they simply, sheer, the only role of sheer here is to emphasize, right? To say very, very much so, right? There's also rank, right? As in rank disobedience, right? Well, here we got first the noun. Let's go to the adjective, as in, well, we also use it for smell. Rank smell as being very unpleasant, right? And the situation is very rank. But then, of course, rank stupidity, rank hypocrisy, a rank outsider, or rank amateurs. All these uses are for rank to emphasize very stupid, very much an outsider, very much an amateur, right? Okay, let's continue because there are many more actually. Let's have a look at outright, right? Like an outright lie or outright dishonesty, right? An outright winner, an outright ban, rejection, victory, right? All these are emphasizers. So outright, yes, outright. There's also out and out, right? Like an out and out liar or an out and out fool, very much so, right? In every way, an out and out lie. We also have utter. Maybe you knew this one, right? Like utter confusion, an utter stranger, utter nonsense, right? An utter fool, very much so, very much a fool, right? Okay. Sheer. Oh, sheer was here before. Arrant is one that wasn't here before, right? Arrant nonsense, complete nonsense, right? This is the central collocation, right? Arrant nonsense. And we also have stark naked, right? Stark, as in stark naked, completely naked. So all of these mean absolute, entirely, totally, purely, completely, right? Okay, so we have the stark reality and as incomplete and total in stark terror, right? Okay, so point number 3 tells us that there are many adjectives that are used predicatively that start with A, and that is true, but that doesn't mean that all adjectives that start with A function predicatively, and that there aren't adjectives which do not start with A that can function predicatively. So I think this is a point that is best ignored, right? Before we move on to entry number 13, there's a comment I want to make about several adjectives that end in ly but are adjectives, right? They may be taken as adverbs, but they're not, like costly, right? A costly house, a costly project, right? What's happening? There you are, costly as expensive. There's also cowardly, as in cowardly behavior, right? Be very careful. That's an adjective, cowardly behavior, right? Shapely. I don't know if this is an entry for this. Shapely fingers. Melancholy, right? Can be a noun, but also an adjective, right? Melancholy blues. Well, here with the noun, melancholy descended on us, so that's the noun. But the adjective is also melancholy. Melancholy thoughts, melancholy memories, right? So very much an adjective. Lonely, you know, this one. Oh, sorry, that was slatternly. There we go. Slatternly. Right, for a woman, very disrespectful, right? Dirty and untidy. And another one that is slovenly behavior, right? So dirty and untidy too, right? This is a nice, not a nice term, right? Careless, untidy, dirty in appearance, right? Slovenly habits or slovenly behavior. Okay, so let's go back to the notes for entry 13, right? And here we have a number of adjectives that always occur after the noun, like secretary general, court martial, poet laureate, which is poet. I missed the E. Poet laureate. You see, when you want to do something fast, it doesn't work. Poet laureate, right? So a person has been chosen to write poetry, right, for the country, right? So it's a kind of a position, right? Then president-elect, God Almighty, Attorney General. These are the ones you have here, but there's also heir apparent, right? A term that possibly you have already seen in history or will be seen in history, right? So the heir who has the legal right to inherit either property or money or whatever, right? Or a title. And there's also heir presumptive, right? Which is the heir who may lose his or her right with a stronger claim, right? If somebody with a stronger claim is born, then they lose their chance. Okay, so that was heir presumptive, heir apparent, notary public. Right, notary public, and also situations. I forgot to check whether there was an entry for this, right? Situations vacant, you know, when no, there isn't an entry. When you're looking for a job, right, you're going to check the situations vacant, right? A notice says if there are positions available. Okay, speaking of available, we have the choice of available as being predicative, used predicatively or used attributively, right? And which in this case is the same, right? but there are some combinations that change the meaning, like on the other page, right? I'm looking at entry number 3 from 13 with present and proper, right? The present members are the current members, right? The ones who are members now. And the members present are the ones who are here at this moment, right? There's also a responsible person who is, well, responsible. You can trust them, right? But the people responsible, so they are the ones who are to blame for something, right? And involved, so responsible, that was the word, responsible, right? Responsible. And then involved, right? The people involved would be the people who took part in something, but an involved explanation or an involved excuse may be a bit complex, right? And the same happens with concerned. The people concerned, so are the people who are part of something, but a concerned expression is a worried expression, right? So some actually there's very few adjectives. I doubt there's more, but there might be some others that behave in this way, right? I'm going to skip some of the entries now, and actually, well, I'm going to ask you to go over entry number 14 on your own. Make sure you do. The others are, I think, very obvious to you, right? But number 14, simply so that you check these structures, right? With as, how, so, and to, right? I have nothing to add, to be frank, because that's the way it is, right? But I would like to discuss with you entry number 15, right? Which talks about the order of adjectives before nouns. And this is a very contentious issue, right? It's very problematic. Now, what I wanted to think about before we move on is that usually there is a likely combination of adjectives before a noun, right? So though there isn't a rule, and when we're going to have a look at the rules that are suggested here, the truth is that the position of adjectives before a noun follows a kind of comfortable position, whatever you speakers feel comfortable with, right? And because of that, grammarians have drawn this rule. In number 1, first to describe, then you classify, then the noun. So that's why you say an old political idea and not the other way around, or the latest educational reform and not the other way around. So it seems that from all the uses of adjectives speakers make, we can draw the conclusion that first we use a descriptive adjective and then the classifying one, right? Now, if we have to choose, then in number 2, first we're going to give opinion. So it's a lovely cool drink, a wonderful old house, right? So description will come opinion will come before description, right? Now, if we have many more adjectives, right, and this is less likely, let's face it, right? Well, we should follow this rule. First the size, then the age, then the shape, then the color, then the origin, the material, and finally the noun, right? Some people also think of the purpose also to be here with material, right? Being the same with the same category, right? So I don't know, eating table. Eating table doesn't sound like a good idea, but can't think of one now. Now, once again, do you have to remember this rule? Well, I hope not. The idea is that when you want to use more than one adjective, possibly you will spontaneously follow this rule, right? And that is because you will feel that changing the order of the adjectives will sound odd. For this, what I'm going to ask you to do, and this is something you can do on your own, is to try and switch the order of the adjectives as they were given here. Sort of try the versions that have been struck out in number 2 and in number 1, right? To see if you get the same feeling, right? That these combinations are unlikely, right? But the ones that are more likely are the ones offered here. But well, so the idea is sometimes you will remember a kind of mnemotechnic rule is to remember something like this: O S A S C-O-M-P, right? So now you remember size, age. Well, it's opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, right? And P is for purpose, right? If you wish, right? But then this is not really something you need to memorize, right? Now, I'm going to go to the commas here, and we use these commas when we want to separate the adjectives, right? And we want to say that they are unrelated, right? They stand on their own, right? So a tall, dark, handsome cowboy. Now, the commas here are, I would say, unnecessary, right? Because you don't need those commas to see that the adjectives are not related, right? They're separate. You cannot be tall and dark at the same time. These are two different categories, right? But you may say in a lovely, long, cool, refreshing drink that the loveliness is in the length of the drink, right? And that's why you want the comma, so you want to say that the drink is lovely and also at the same time long, right? But well, rarely do you come across problems of the sort, right? When you use and in number 16 to add enumerate adjectives, you may wish to use a comma before and, right? Which is not necessary. Usually speakers do not use it, but well, if you wish, you can. It may lead to confusion in certain cases, right? We have already seen some cases in which this may be so, but rarely with adjectives, right? This happens sometimes with nouns, right? Not with adjectives. Okay, I'm going to leave the following entries to you, right? Because I have no comments I want to make. So I'm going to go to 17.2, which is adjectives of nationality, right? Lo que nosotros llamamos gentilicio en castellano, ¿no? And you know that these words take capital letters in English. And what I wanted to note is something. Wait. It's not just nationalities, right? It is also for Native American people, right? And I just wanted to show you the pronunciation for this name. It is Sioux, right? Also, for example, so the pronunciation is Maori, Maori. And of course, this is capitalized, right? And these are the people, Aboriginal people of New Zealand, right? So remember that it's not just, of course, this happens also with languages and everything, right? Okay, once again, I'm going to leave you to go over all these choices here. And I'm going to go to entry number 18 because I think it merits our attention, right? There's a very interesting discussion about the pronunciation of certain adjectives ending in ed, right? Because sometimes they're not adjectives, sometimes they are verb forms, and we're going to go over all of these together, right? So let's start with aged. So in this case, the dictionary shows you the two versions, right? It's aged, meaning having a certain age. So children aged 6 and 9, right? Or aged between 25 and 40 and whatever. And aged when you mean very old. So my aged aunt, having aged relatives, right? An aged car, right? And also, of course, the aged, which is the very old people, right? Okay, the next one is beloved. Now with beloved, right, we have the same difference. Sorry, forgot to click enter. So beloved, you love very much, so your beloved son, beloved Ireland, but beloved, right? Deep purple flowers, so beloved by artists, beloved by all who knew her, beloved of Londoners. So you notice that this is a more verbal version, right? Beloved by, right? More like a verb. The next one is crooked. Oh, I skipped blessed. Because they're not alphabetical here. Okay. I will go back to that one, right? So a crooked nose, a crooked smile, crooked streets. Your glasses are crooked. But also this means, well, not straight, right? But it also means dishonest. So a crooked businessman, a crooked deal. Officials are crooked. You can say it again. Okay, annoyed, right? But this is Australian, right? Okay, but we also have another version, right? This is less frequent, to be frank, right? To crook, to bend your finger, right? She winked and she winked, sorry, and crooked, right? So in this case, it's not crooked, but crooked, crooked. A finger at him, right? Okay, so gonna go to the one that I skipped, which was blessed or blessed? Well, blessed, blessed Virgin Mary, blessed are the poor. Oops, oh, I didn't get there. A moment of blessed calm. I can't see without a thing, sorry, I can't see a blessed thing without my glasses, right? Blessed, blessed. But, oops, I meant blessed, not the Virgin. Sorry. There we go. Now, the verb is to bless, and the past is blessed, right? Blessed. So, he blessed them. God bless you. Well, the priest blessed the bread and wine, right? Blessed, right? So we went to crooked, and now we're going to go to curse. Cursed. It is actually kind of well, this one actually we get two in the same entry, right? So having a curse on it, the necklace was cursed, cursed. The whole family seemed cursed, so you have a curse, right? But cursed as meaning annoying, right? Cursed, I don't know, cup of tea, whatever, right? It is very old-fashioned. We don't use it that much. So remember, something is cursed, right? But cursed, it means something like damned, right? Okay, what about this one? Dogged or dogged? Dogged, dogged meaning tenacious, dogged determination, persistence, right? Dogged defense of the city, right? But dogged, from the verb to dog, right? You are dogged by something, dogged by ill health or dogged by misfortune, right? And that in that case, it is dogged. There, dogged. Okay. And we're going to go to learned, right, as an adjective. Learned, a learned professor, a learned journal, having to do with knowledge always, right? Learned, right? But a learned skill, right? We all have different learned responses, learned, right? Be careful. And also, if we're going to go to the verb learn, in American English, the form is going to be learned. Okay, learned, right? Of course, British English uses learnt, right? Learnt, mostly. But if it's with ed, the pronunciation will be learned, right? So here, well, no examples in the past. Always with learned. Let's see. I doubt they will use one. There it is. I learned a lot from my father, right? Okay, let's go to the next one, which is a combination with legged or legged. Usually when legs are mentioned, sorry, with numbers are mentioned, it's legged, but let's see. Oh, a person is bow-legged, right? You have a curve at the knees, bow-legged, right? But you sit cross-legged and cross-legged, right? The two are possible, right? But you speak of a three-legged stool, right? Something like a three-legged stool, right? A three-legged stool. All right, the next one will be then the ones that only take ed, like naked, right? Naked, which can be used with many senses, right? Naked as bare, naked shoulders, stark naked, stripped naked, half naked, but also naked light, naked sword, bone naked, but this without anything to cover you, right? Naked aggression, so very direct, right? Reveal the naked truth, right? There was another collocation. Yes. Feel naked, and drained after the ordeal, so helpless, right? Okay, let's go to the next one, which is ragged. Do you know ragged? Rugged. Shabby, a ragged jacket, right? Old and torn. And there's also rugged. This is ragged, and this is rugged. I'm sure I'm making the difference, right? Rugged cliffs. The countryside is very rugged. That is that it's not smooth and there are many rocks in it. Rugged coastline. Rugged looks also especially for a man, right? Strong, attractive features, right? Sacred. So sacred, right? A sacred image, a sacred shrine, temple, music. I have the examples from here. Something is cows are sacred to Hindus, etc. Wicked. Wicked, right? So morally bad, so evil, wicked deed, wicked witch. But also mischievous, as in wicked grin, right? Wicked sense of humor, wicked smile, so mischievous. Can also be dangerous, like wicked punch, wicked looking knife. Very good, songs Wicked, Wicked has many, many meanings, and it is wicked, the pronunciation, right? And last but not least, wretched, right? Looking very unhappy. Yes, you look wretched. Wretched, what's wrong? Thoroughly wretched. I felt wretched about the way things were. Had a wretched time at school, right? Very awful time. Okay, I think I've made my point, right? That these adjectives, some of them, like naked, ragged, rugged, sacred, wicked, and wretched, always with a D, and the others aged or aged, beloved, beloved, blessed, blessed, crooked, crooked, cursed, cursed, and dogged and dogged, and learned. All right, I hope you have enjoyed this thoroughly. Thank you very much. That's the end of adjectives. Bye.